did was tell the truth, bro. That is it, man. I told the truth. You know as well as I do we should bust every one of those dirty gangsters down to the Coliseum, throw in some guns and ammo, lock the door, and let God sort it out. Bitches, get in your tuna boat and get out of my face. Oh, great. What's wrong? What? Come on.
You see these guys, you know what I'm thinking? This is like the prequel. When you see Sherman and Cooper, who are they the prequel to? That's right, the French Connection. I always see Southland as the prequel to the French Connection. But anyway, let's go back. So this is the DVD review. Well, not DVD review. This is classic TV review of Southland. I got to watch all 5 seasons. I think watching some old clips. There's 2 big cop shows that really get... I mean, there still was Hill Street Blues when I was a kid, okay? So I grew up on Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue, which were both very good, right? But then you get to some really good ones. I think... I don't know what it is. People like The Rookie. People like The Rookie. People like Law and Order SVU. Now, aside from I always see... Like when you look at Nathan Fillion, he's done, comic book type shows and movies. And the thing I don't like and the thing I worry about is that it's superheroes in police uniforms. It's superheroes in capes, but in police uniforms, right? Like they don't get hurt. They don't kill. They do the right thing. But you're not superheroes. You're police officers. You have to kill if it's necessary, right? If it's protocol. You shoot somebody when they got a gun, you have to shoot them. There's whether it's a plastic gun or a real one, you have to do your job. So there's a lot of I think the one episode of Law and Order SVU that really pissed me off was when Mariska Hargitay. Mariska Hargitay was she found somebody murdered, and there's a suspect. They're trying to find a number of suspects, and then the murder victim, their organs are supposed to be donated to another place. So she donated her organs through the DMV, but there's a murder case going on. It's like, wait a minute, we got to know how this person died before. So I don't know what the hell happened. There was a whole murder trial. I said there should have been fucking laws in place that if somebody is murdered, that your organs do not get donated to whatever the cause is. Because we don't know how we want to put the person in prison, right? I mean, wouldn't that be the perfect crime? To kill somebody you don't like, but their organs are going to get donated, so now you can't do anything. Now it's too late, Well, that's kind of weird. Anyway, this show, Southland, is not like that. Southland, this one and End of Watch, I think are probably the best cop shows you'll ever have. But I can only go as far as the first half. The first half of this series, you got a total of, how's that, like as Booker T say, 5 seasons, right? 5 seasons. And the first was like 7 episodes long, and the other one's like 10. Usually they're like 10 episodes long each season. Okay, so it's like 47 episodes. And here we got Michael Cudlitz, who plays Lex Luthor. He was Abraham in The Walking Dead. And he is John Cooper in this one. And then you got Regina King to the far left. She's a detective. And then you got Ben Sherman. You got Ben McKenzie, husband to, what's her name? Morena Baccarin, who knows The Rookie. I'm going to lose track of all these people. Nathan Fillion. So there's a lot of people who know people, right? Played Commissioner Gordon, right, in Gotham. A lot of great shows. And you got an all-star cast here. And some people have left the show and for whatever reason, and some people stuck around. You got the actor who played Dewey. I don't know who played Dewey. Dewey was like the one guy who almost died in the first episode, was retiring in the second. They threw a retirement party for him in the second episode. Then came back the third episode and acted stupid. Fucked with Chicky Brown, his partner. Then was gonna fire him, and he's like, "Well, you can't fire me." And he drove crazy and drove the car upside down. Then he went to rehab. Then he came back. Chicky Brown, the actress who played Chicky Brown, left, and then like Dewey became more serious and less goofy. But I remember that episode where he was like playing with an AK-47 with Tom Sizemore, who played a Harvey Weinstein, Me Too-ish kind of a sleazy Hollywood producer. Let me show you the cast of people. Okay, so you got Michael Cudlitz, Sean Hattasey, that's the guy on the far right, playing Officer Sammy, who's Emily Burgel was the wife, and she wanted a baby so badly, but she was such a fuck. Everybody hated the wife. Everybody hated the wife of Officer Sammy. Ben McKenzie, they got Regina King, Kevin Alessandro, who died, whose character died in the middle of season 3, which was really sad. There is Chicky Brown at the far left. Tom Everett Scott, Detective, Russo. I think it was Regina King's partner, and he sold her out with some sort of Hollywood scandal because he was selling photos of a dead body to the press and used her phone and shit. Michael McGrady, who had an exit, but left for whatever reason. Like his character never came back, not even as like the mayor or the senator or anything, nothing like that. C. Thomas Howell was another officer, got a short time there. There's Emily Burgel. People hated that character. Jamie McShane played the chief, kind of like the main chief you would see in Hill Street Blues, like that sort of 4-star guy. But he only had one dramatic point, and that was his son, who died of a drug overdose. Not a drug overdose, but he was killed by gangs. He had a drug deal gone wrong. And it was like, it kind of felt forced because he didn't do anything the rest of the time. Jenny Gago, who was one of the partners for Regina King and kind of came and left. Elle Scott, I think she played the mom, and then her character died. Dorian played the last partner, Roxana, another detective. Oh, the detective in charge of Regina King. And let's see if there's any more. A lot more people. Some of these people are played partners. They only showed up in one episode. Lisa Vidal, Eva Akers, Mario Cortez. Even Shaquille O'Neal showed up in one episode. I think it was one of the last episodes. Carl Lumley, who was the big police chief, but there were like 20 police chiefs. There was like this one. Okay, so the redheaded guy, the big football guy who played the other police chief, right? The guy in charge of Kevin Alessandro and Sean Hattasey, right? Sean Hattasey. So the redheaded dude that played the big guy, there was one episode where he lost his gun. And so he had to answer to a chief that was a black dude that said, okay, next time you lose your gun, you're going to have to lose your badge too. So he was the authority figure that the redheaded dude had to go to. Salinger, right? Head of detective Salinger. And so I think he was the captain, right? The captain in charge of all the detectives. So you have that one authority figure that was just there one episode. Carl Lumley shows up for a few episodes, and then there's that one episode where he's like holding the Bible out to a woman who's got a gun and is shooting at the officers from inside her house. Carl Lumley's character was useless, very useless. Let me see who else is in this. So there's Carl Lumley, didn't do much. Some of these played the girlfriends of Ben Sherman, Ben McKenzie's character. Denise Crosby played the redheaded, the captain's wife. Jamie Brewer was like, she's got retardation, but she ties her own shoes. She clothes herself, but she played the girlfriend or the one that was chasing John Cooper, who is bisexual in the show. There's other people. Oh, Anthony Revivar. Yeah, he was the last partner of John Cooper who got killed at the very end of the season, the penultimate episode. all these different people. Laz Alonso from Avatar. He was he was the guy that played a sort of undercover cop. And I'm going to show, let me see if I can find the Wikipedia for this. I'll show you the episodes because now for the episodes, I'll see if I can go over them really quick because some of these, there's spoilers here. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you can skip over this and get to my grade. Season police chief John Cooper and his rookie. So the whole time, John Cooper and Ben Sherman, these two guys here at the center, they made great partners. The whole time, though, you had John Cooper complaining about his back because he was addicted to drugs for his back. Tammy is the one that's Emily Bergel's character. I would say Sammy and Tammy, I think this is the couple. I mean, they banged one night and is like, oh, I'm into cops. And then they get married. She wants a baby. And all the time she keeps flirting around with different guys, having like weed sessions, like getting stoned, right? Having stoned out in the living room. Got Tom Sizemore, two gangs. Also, too, the first couple of seasons had gang wars, Latino gangs, black gangs, and it didn't deviate really too much, but it did deviate a little bit, okay? Season 2, you had Chicky Brown. Chicky Brown had to get rid of Dewey because Dewey's a piece of shit. Laz Alonso. So you have Laz Alonso. So some of these episode plots were really good. I try to remember some of this stuff. Lydia. Oh yeah, Lydia. Lydia is the one that's played by Regina King, and she gets a new partner after the first one is hospitalized. Now, at the end of this series, Lydia and her first partner go out to the beach, and there's sort of a hint that she's in love with the guy, right? But she doesn't say it out loud. He says to her, what are we doing out here at the beach? Because he's kind of taking care of her baby. She has a baby with another guy. And she's a detective, responsible, but she has a baby with somebody that she has an affair with. So she looks at him and says, I don't know. But maybe they're supposed to start some sort of relationship. Punching water, drive-by shooting. There's all kinds of stuff that happens. Code 4, The Winds, Cop or Not. Directing Traffic. Oh, yeah, this is the one with the celebrities. The celebrity's wife dies, and so Sherman and Cooper have to be out there guarding the guy's mansion, which is shit. They get garbage calls one episode. It's like, fuck this. Graduation day. So at the end of season 3, Ben Sherman graduates and becomes a pup from a boot. So you start as a boot, like a year or two, and then you become a pup. And then after that, after from a pup, you become a, part-time to full-time officer, right? And you work your way up. At the end of the series, though, Sherman will take the detective's test, but not before he fucks over his last partner, which is Sean Hatosi's character, Sammy, right? So Sammy has a baby, got father rights from his ex-wife, who slept with another man and had a baby. That's how it is. One of her fitness instructor, her artist instructor, whatever it is. John Cooper moves on with Lucy Liu's character. Lucy Liu is in season 4. There was the one where he rescued a guy, a young man, a teenager, who was cross-dressing and finding himself. Maybe he was gay or transsexual. He killed himself later on at the end of the episode, but he did his best to rescue him from jumping off of a building. That was kind of hard. There were a lot of hard episodes. And it didn't deviate, didn't play it safe. There were a lot of things going on. The guy the captain who lost his gun and got it back from a black gang. A lot of noir, okay? Ben Sherman staged a gang attack on Sammy's house. The guy stabbed the neighbor, or stabbed the nurse, actually. She survived. The baby was okay, but he made it look like a gang war just to get the videotape where Sammy assaulted his wife because Ben Sherman was there and he didn't want to lose his job. So he saw Sammy as a liability. So he played a dirty cop, okay? Ben Sherman was a dirty cop. at the end of this. And at the end of this series, does John Cooper live or die? Now, at the end of the 5 seasons, John Cooper went from training Ben Sherman to reacting to Lucy Liu's nonsense, because John Cooper just kind of went from being this alpha male to a sort of between alpha beta male. Like, he's not a beta male really, but he doesn't go alpha. He's kind of working with Lucy Liu because he had a drug addiction with his back pain. He had back surgery. And at the end of season 3, beginning of season 4, he goes back to training because Ben Sherman threatened to go to the police, to the board, to administration with his drug addiction, with the piss test and all that, because John Cooper failed to do his job correctly, and Ben Sherman had to put him in his place, right? He kind of did the same thing with Sammy at the end. So there's a lot going on here. And at the end of this, John Cooper was with a new partner. He took off the badge of another boot who didn't last a day or two. He just didn't last very long. Couldn't do his job. He said, well, you don't have to convince me. He took off his badge and sent him on his merry way. And at the end of this, he lost his partner. These 2 guys abducted them. And it was kind of a diet, what is that movie? It's like Pulp Fiction, Deliverance. It's like Deliverance, but diet Deliverance. Nothing graphic happens, but it's hinted at. So there's a little bit of Deliverance and Pulp Fiction, that these 2 guys get undressed. They're in their underwear, shirts and boxers and socks, because these 2 hillbillies kidnap them and kills one of the partners, obviously not John, kills the other guy, the Latino guy, after they had a falling out at a gay bar. And John Cooper at the end wants to have a baby with his ex-wife, but his ex-wife pushes him away. But she wanted the baby with him in season 2 or 3, but he pushed her away, and then she pushed him away. And then he was looking out for her by confronting one of the neighbors who's playing his engine too loud. He beats the shit out of him, but then the cops say, "Hey, put down the gun." So he had the neighbor's gun in his hand, and decided not to properly respond to his fellow officers. For whatever reason, the cop shot him full of 3 holes. Because he was a big man, he could have resisted, but we don't know. So at the end, does the guy live or die? Does John Cooper live or does John Cooper die? He's on the ground. Ben Sherman was on the ground because he had to think about what had happened, being a dirty cop, framing Sammy for something or whatever. But he didn't want to lose his job either. And he wants to be a detective. So I kind of went into watching the French Connection after this, because I kind of felt like if Cooper and Sherman got back together, they would just leave Los Angeles and go somewhere else and just be detectives. That's what the way I kind of saw it. So if I really had to, looking at this now, seeing the way that they could have turned out, I will always see these 2 as like Sherman and Cooper, like these 2 guys that could have been. Because when they got stuff done as detectives, they were not even detectives. They were just like looking for a lost child. So that was the one time they were being detectives. And I think that they would have handled things the same way as the French Connection, going after the system. But here they're just going after small fish. So looking at Southland, what will I score this? And I'm looking at both the first half, because the first half was the strongest and the second half was the weakest. A B+, only because I felt that if it wasn't a B to a B+, only because I felt that the second half was weak. After the first half, after John Cooper and Ben Sherman parted ways, and when they reunited in season 5, it wasn't much. He called him out on his alcoholic problems, but I felt like these 2 could have reconciled better. I did like that Dewey called Lindsay, or whatever her name is. I like that he called Regina King baby girl, and these 2 fought each other. And then they were apologetic in the season 5. But in season 3 or 4, they did acknowledge each other, but the camera angles don't show it to you. But season 5 for sure, Dewey redeems himself somewhat, but he's still a bad cop anyway. But Dewey's comic relief, right? And John Cooper learns to respect Dewey by the end of the whole series. When you hate Dewey at the beginning, at season 5, you learn to like Dewey. So, um, yeah. So this was my review for fucking Southland, classic TV review. Lois, Superman and Lois season 4 coming out. So there's Michael Cudlitz as Lex Luthor. Tomorrow I will do goth metal lore, and we'll look at some more music videos. And I don't know what's going on the rest of the week. I'm still gotta look for my art. As at this moment, I'm still looking for my recent art that I've been doing, and I cannot find it in the house anywhere. I'm getting pissed. I don't know what's happening. I really don't. Anyway, there you go. B+ for Southland.